So Mohammed, first of all, can you tell me what's the latest with the efficiency savings?
Well, first of all, can I say that I'm really pleased that we've got the budget out of the way for next year. Okay, the council at its last meeting agreed the 12-13-14 budget, and it's a good budget, and I want staff to understand really some of the key highlights of it. So first of all, members have agreed not to cut frontline services and not to cut jobs. Okay, that's really important. So those priorities of protecting services for the public and protecting jobs of our staff have been delivered. That's a good thing. They've agreed to put an extra £1 million into our corporate plan priorities. Okay, so again, that's really good. And an increase in the council tax of 2%, right, which is a low increase. It'll be the third lowest in Wales. And I think as far as the public is concerned, that's again a very good message. And we've delivered £3.5 million of savings or efficiencies. Okay. Now, to do those four things, has taken quite a lot of work, and people who've led that deserve a bit of credit. And I think people like Paul McGrady and his team and Julian from the member side of things have managed this over a year, and we've delivered a good budget. The efficiencies agenda is critical to that, okay? Because if you just think about it, you can't continue to protect all your services to the public, protect jobs, cut £3 million a year, and everything remains the same. Something has to give somewhere. And so our strategy is to maximise the efficiencies, right, and maximise the modernisation. Now, I'm really pleased that we are now beginning to see real progress, right, real tangible results, right, that I can talk about. So, for the last few years, we've been focusing on reducing sickness absence. Okay? Now, we were at something like 12.5 days per employee only 3 years ago. We've brought that right down to about 9. And what that means is that in terms of working days, that's equivalent to something like 50 members of staff, okay, or £1.2 million of savings. Now that has led to a real reduction in agency costs. So we're having to spend less money bringing people in to cover for those who are not here. And we've saved £1 million from that. Right? Now that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So we're more productive, we have more people at work for more of the time, and therefore we are not spending money on things that we shouldn't be spending money on. The other area that we are seeing tangible results in now is in travel. We've been going on about reducing travel wherever we can. Well, the good news is that we're doing that as well. And so over the last 2 or 3 years, according to Paul McGrady, Head of Finance, we've saved enough miles to go to the moon. Right? But of course we're not going to go to the moon, but we're going to protect services instead. Now that's a lot of miles, and that means people are going to fewer meetings, they're thinking about which meetings they want to go to, and we're making savings. We're about to start our printer rationalisation programme. Now that will require some culture change because we're going to have more multi-purpose devices and fewer printers. We're going from something like 500 to 60, so it's a big change. But we're going to make a 6-figure sum saving out of that. Now, some of the so-called efficiencies aren't really efficiencies. They will hurt. So we are looking at taking out the essential car user allowance. Right? Now, I know some people have had that and they will miss it. But that is still a better option than cutting services or jobs. So to your question, how is it going? I think it's going well. I think that we're doing really well, and it's helping us to deliver sound budgets aligned to our priorities.
We're just about to agree our budget in the next couple of weeks. What are the challenges facing the authority for the next 12 months?
Well, for the next 12 months, we've got to deliver the budget. So setting the budget, agreeing the package of cuts is one thing, delivering it is another thing. So our attention now switches from putting a package together for members to agree to delivering that package. And we've got to remain disciplined about that, because if we start undoing parts of the budget, we're going to have to bring other things to compensate. So that's the challenge for us, to deliver the budget. Then we have to start engaging with the budget for 14-15. And unfortunately, we're going to have to do it again, because the financial environment is that this year-on-year reduction is going to continue, right? At least for the period of this council. So that's not going to change. But as I said earlier, you know, if we remain focused on efficiencies and on modernisation, collaboration wherever possible, there are still significant savings to be made from that. So we don't have to go to cutting jobs or cutting services if we remain focused on the efficiency and modernisation agenda. So that hasn't changed. It's been our priority for the last 2 years. It will remain our priorities for the next 2 or 3 years. Deliver the budget now and start setting the budget for 14-15.
You've mentioned the fact that we are being more efficient in the ways that we're working. Do we need to be more efficient yet?
Yes, we do. I think there's still some way to go. So I talked about sickness absence, sickness management, for example. Why shouldn't we be as efficient as the private sector? That's the sort of goal I'm setting. So in the UK, the average in the private sector is something like 5.5 days per employee. We're at 9. So I think we can still, we may not get it to 5.6. I'm not saying that that's where we must be. What I'm saying is that other organisations can do it, and I think we should be going in that direction. So I think there's more in that. I think we might still be quite bureaucratic in the ways we work. Okay, so I'm looking at those systems, you know, around how we have meetings, how we use paper, all that stuff. And also I'm looking at how our management structures support an efficient council and whether we can be leaner. You know, again, this isn't necessarily a threatening message because we can move towards that. So I think, yeah, there are loads of things we can do. There are things around collaboration that we haven't really pulled off yet that we can do. So I sort of think, if you're saying where are you from sort of here to here, we're about here. Right? So I think we're probably not halfway there yet. That's why I think we can do it, because I do believe that if we became a real efficient council, we can take out a lot of expenditure we don't have to incur.
A final question for you now. If you read the daily papers, you see stories about public toilets being closed, public transport being cut. What's so different in Denbighshire that we're able to protect the frontline services? Well, I think
that's the thing. Again, it's been the theme of this conversation we're having, that we've deliberately said we don't want to go there unless we absolutely have to. Okay, so we are going to be really serious about cutting out expenditure from serving the bureaucracy, from the way we run things, from the way we work. And there's a lot to do there. I think some councils are struggling with that. Right? We've become much better at looking at the council across the board. We're stronger corporately. So we're not any longer looking at things in silos and sort of salami slicing. That leads to cutting services. So we're looking at how we run the whole council and how we can take efficiencies out of the ways in which we work. So you look at our list, you won't see closures of libraries or closure of public facilities or cuts to schools or cuts to social services or the public realm. We've protected all of those because they're our priorities and it can be done. And I'm really quite pleased with that. And I want to pay tribute to staff as well, because the issues that I've touched on in terms of efficiency, they don't happen by themselves. I think what is happening in Denbighshire now is that people are hearing the message and it's changing the way they're working. And we're beginning to see the benefits. And what that means is that if we continue on that agenda and accept that some terms and conditions might have to be looked at as well, I know that's a little bit controversial, but that's still better than the alternatives. And I think we can go through the next few years protecting jobs and services if we continue to deliver the efficiency agenda.
Mohammed, thank you for your time.
Thank you.